Are you worried about your favorite tech stocks? Well, we're going to go through 14 stocks, and I'm going to set a 12-minute timer to see just how fast that we can get through all 14 of these and get you on your way ready for the next week. So first off, we need to take a look at the market. So the S&P 500 has a buy signal, still is in a bullish trend, and it is growing on its fear and greed. That's a great start. However, what I did notice is that we have a bearish cross on breadth, meaning more sell signals than buy signals. And you'll also notice we have less uptrends and more downtrends going on right now in the S&P 500. So while the S&P 500 does look good on the surface, under the hood, the breadth gives me a lot of concern, right? Like I say, you got the trend, you got the buy signal, but under the hood, that breadth gives me a little bit of concern. How many sell signals are we going to have before the market starts to crack? So next, let's jump into the discretionary sector. And we're going to talk about Palantir, Google, Meta, Microsoft, AMD, you name it, we're going to talk about it. So let's talk about Tesla first in the discretionary sector. So Tesla has a buy signal. However, the sector has waning fear and greed, so moving more towards fear, less towards greed, and breadth is crossed over in this sector as well. More sell signals and less uptrends, more downtrends. So that's not a great start. Now, why do I care to show you that, right? 40% of the move is due to the market. That's why we started there. 30% of the move is due to the individual sector, which is why we're going to go sector by sector. And only the last 30% of any stock's move is due to the stock itself. So when you have the trend, the signal, the fear and greed of the stock moving up, and then no outlier blocks, meaning no overhead resistance on top of it, that's a great place to be. Now, Tesla does have a little bit of resistance right here, certainly an area where I would be watching very, very closely, because these buyers who bought right here at the top in December are really anxious to get out, really anxious to get out. And because of this, we've been seeing probably a month worth of candles fighting through this area. And I don't know what it's going to take to get Tesla through there, but according to OVTLYR, we've got all kinds of good stuff moving in our favor for Tesla, but the sector, not so much, not so much. Let's go to Amazon. Amazon, remember, the market's going to stay the same for everybody, and we're going sector by sector. So this is also in the discretionary sector. Now, the stock has a bearish trend going on with Amazon. What happened with Amazon? Amazon just had, no, that crossed over on Friday. That hasn't updated yet on our servers just yet. Yeah, Amazon had huge blowout earnings on Friday. And I can guarantee you that it's because my wife has been buying far too much on Amazon. So the trend is definitely going up. And we can see that buy signal came on October 29th. October 29th was right here. So Amazon has gone up how much close to close since that point? About 6% since that point. So pretty good buy signal to start off with right there. Let's continue on to the next sector, which would be the financial sector. We're going to talk about SoFi and Robinhood. SoFi has that buy signal going on right now. And the fear and greed is pushing down on the sector right here. You can see it's in the fear actually and getting more fearful. Breadth, however, is still crossed up bullishly, so that's good. So we don't have a full confluence on the market and on the sector either. So if we look at the stock, we've got a bullish trend with a buy signal. The fear and greed is starting to push down ever so slightly on SoFi. And let's just double check our outlier blocks on here. SoFi. Yeah, if it actually, let's see. This gives me, it's funny because it just broke out of this order block right here, this outlier block right here, and then it's created a brand new order block right there. So there's something going on at this $30 level where people are not as excited to buy it as they were at the $20 level. They're way more excited to sell it at this point. So if you're in SoFi, watch your back on that. And I know lots of SoFi bros love to watch this channel, so I'm just telling you, watch your back on it, okay? So we got a buy signal on Robinhood next. Remember, the market and the sector aren't going to change from one to the next on this. And it's in a bullish trend, has a buy signal. Fear and greed, like the sector, moving down on the stock too. Let's go look at Robinhood on its charts. And it does not have any order blocks on top of it. In fact, I don't see anything on top of it right here. So once it pushes to new all-time highs here around 155, that could be a great sign. In fact, all-time highs is bullish AF. Bullish AF. And if you don't believe me, trust me, anytime you see a stock that hits new all-time highs, just think about it. There's nobody waiting like they have been on SoFi, like they have been on Tesla, waiting to get out at break even, right? So if Tesla can push up higher right here, anybody who's ever bought it in the history of time will be a much happier person because they now can see daylight, right? However, Robinhood, we're like a couple bucks off. So the people who bought it even right here, they're looking at like, oh, okay, I'm almost to break even. All is good. Now we do have earnings coming up on Robinhood. So just be careful. I don't trade earnings. Earnings can be a huge gamble. We saw this week with Meta going down 10% and Amazon going up 10%. How big of a gamble earnings can be, and nobody can predict where that's going to go. Let's shift gears now. We're into the tech sector. Now, you can, of course, get access to our platform here, OVTLYR, at OVTLYR.com for only 82 cents a day. And you're going to have all of this data right at your fingertips. So looking at this, we're moving into the tech sector here. The fear and greed on the tech sector, moving down, we see a recurring pattern right here. The market, I don't think, is as strong as you would think, considering pushing new all-time highs, because under the surface, all of these big stocks that we're looking at here, we keep seeing one after another, sector after sector after sector, where it's losing its greed and getting more fearful. But NVIDIA right here, let's take a look at the chart. I'm very curious real quick what's going on with it. Huge move up, right? We got the buy signal on October 30th. Let me highlight where that is right here. So October 30th, so not much time has passed for this buy signal to play out just yet. But if we look at the performance summary, OVTLYR shows 1,331% gain. So pretty good on those buy and sell signals, I'd say. But now in the sector, getting less fearful. It does still have a bullish cross on breadth. However, I am seeing less and less uptrends and more downtrends. Now, when you see more uptrends, it's going to highlight green like this. Less downtrends, it's going to highlight red. That's what we want to see. I'm not seeing that right now. And in fact, you can see right here just how nice and easy and effortless it is when the sector is getting more bullish, more greedy, when the sector has a bullish crossover here, where it's got more uptrends, less downtrends, and more buy signals. And then boom, a big, beautiful, easy move like that. We're not seeing that here on NVIDIA. Let's go to the next stock, AMD. Buy signal came through AMD on October 7th. And let's go take a look. October 7th was right there. In fact, let me remove a couple drawings. And since that buy signal, AMD's up 22% since that buy signal. Goodness, I didn't realize that. Daggum. All right, so AMD is definitely bucking the trend, getting more and more greedy. This is what you're looking for, right? When you get into a stock, you want more and more people to get greedy and help push up the price of the stock. So sector won't change. The stock definitely is sitting on lots and lots of good positive momentum right here. Let's go to Palantir. Palantir just got the buy signal here. It was really fearful for a while, wasn't it? When it was going sideways for so long. Now it's starting to be less fearful, pushing up higher. Remember, the tech sector fear and greed is not going to help so much, and the less uptrends, more downtrends isn't helping so much either. And looks like Palantir is really starting to take off here. In fact, how much has it moved since the buy signal? On October 28th, Palantir is up. How much? Close to close, 6%. So Palantir is on its move. And here's another stock that I'm telling you about, where once it hits new all-time highs, this is where you want to be, right? These buyers were super remorseful, super regretful as it went down by how much? How much did it go down by? 20-something%. They were hoping and praying, going to church, saying, please, Lord Jesus, let me get out at break even. And it fought with this order block for a long time. Fought with it from September 19th all the way until October 24th when it finally crossed over. This is why we look for order blocks, right? I want to buy it as it's clear that resistance, not buy it as it has to fight through that resistance. So Palantir actually looks really good. Google, remember, same sector. Buy signal came through October 21st. Let's go look at October 21st over here on Google. That's right here. And close to close so far, it is up 11% so far on Google. Man, these buy signals have been killing it. 82 cents a day is all it takes to get access to them. And it's pushing up higher and higher and higher on your greed right there. And still in the same sector. Oh, no. I lied. This is the communications sector. Google's in the communications sector, not the tech sector. Fear and greed pushing down ever so slightly. But other than the breadth and fear and greed, this one is lit up really, really strong. And that's why it's moving the way that is. It's got all that momentum behind it. Let's go to Meta, which is also in the communication sector. Meta got absolutely monkey hammered this week. totally destroyed after earnings. And a perfect example as to why, even when you have all the data showing you the momentum is strong on a stock, come up to earnings, it can evaporate. It can evaporate just that fast. And we got sell signals coming through, getting way more fearful. And this is a stock that honestly I would be staying away from. You are in a absolutely bearish trend, hands down bearish trend right here on Meta stocks. I would stay far away from Meta. Let's look at Microsoft. All right, Microsoft. The stock has all the green lights right here. The sector, not so much, and the market, not so much. Let's go look at Microsoft real quick. Microsoft really pulling back hard right here after earnings. Yeah, earnings with a gap and crap. Okay, great learning example right here. So earnings, it gapped up. Now, what we see right here is what I call a gap and crap, and something you need to be aware of. On the date of earnings, if you see it close underneath the low of that candle, right, wherever that wick is at, and you see it close under it, that right there is, my friends, is what's called a gap and crap. And that, no matter what, is a sell signal to me. When I see a big gap up of at least 5%, which how much did it gap up? It gapped 2% or so. But coming out of earnings, a gap and crap right there is not where you want to be. Not where you want to be. So Meta, even though it's lit up really well, looking at this right here, it's definitely fighting that trend, that momentum. Let's look at Apple. Apple stock. This was a stock a couple of years ago that just could not be held down. And right now it's going to the moon as well. October 28th, I believe is what it said. October 26th. 28th. October 28th buy signal. Let's find that real quick. Here, Apple on the move. Up a little bit so far. About 1%. Now, it pulled through earnings without much drama, right? It pulled through earnings without much drama. Now, with all that said, because we're past earnings, this is still valid. This is still what I'd be looking at right here, that Apple is in a great place. Apple's in a great place. And let's go to our last three. United Healthcare. In the healthcare sector, man, I know a lot of people got super stoked about this after Warren Buffett bought it. But United Healthcare just really is not a big mover right here, right? It was on a huge, ugly, nasty. Oh, there's my 12-minute timer. I got to wrap it quick. It was on a big, ugly, nasty downtrend. It found a bit of a bid right here. People were excited to get in, but right now we got that sell signal. The whole healthcare sector is looking pretty miserable as well. I'm going to give you two more bonus stocks. How about gold? Gold had this huge move up, over 20-something% move up with that buy signal that came through. Gold's now sitting on a sell signal, and then I would absolutely be taking my profits out of gold if you haven't already. And lastly, how about a uranium stock, right? Uranium stock, has that buy signal. Actually, no, I take that back. Has the sell signal going on. But the sector is looking good. The trend of the stock is looking good. But that sell signal is not helping you out, and it is getting more fearful as well. So with all that out of the way, I want you to have a successful week in the market. And if you want to get access to the exit signals, I just told you about all the buy signals, you need to get access to OVTLYR. It's just 82 cents a day. And if you're ready to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk, click one of these two videos, and we'll definitely talk soon.